Hello gamers and welcome back. I'm Rob, of course, or Warshack if you want to call me by my in-game name, and today we're going to be doing the Control Warrior deck guide. For those of you who are veterans here, you kind of know how the setup goes. We talk about the deck list, every card within the deck, their synergies within those cards, kind of why the cards in the deck, why there's only one or two copies, maybe some cards that have been shifting in and out of the meta, why I've chosen those over some others. Then from there, we're going to go into playing the deck itself, talking about the mulligans and versus particular classes, what you should do when playing against, another Control Warrior, another Priest, maybe an aggro deck, kind of different lines of plays you should look for throughout those matches. And then your basic win conditions versus whatever decks we end up going against. And then from there, we'll play around 3 or 4 games, and then we'll wrap it up at the end. So without further ado, let's talk about the deck list, why I've got what I've got in here. And because we've done Control Warrior in the past, and because I've played it so much, we won't go over in too much detail about these cards because I've talked about them so much in our Road to Legends and also the other Control Warrior deck guides we've done in the past. But, some of the cards we've moved in and out, like no longer Tankmaster Overspark is no longer in our deck due to the fact that Cthulhu Warrior is just not that popular of a deck anymore. So Double Shield Slam is an absolute staple in this deck. This is your basic removal along with Execute. These are your kind of whatever you don't like, you can remove it. As the Execute, there is the increase of 1 mana. It's still a really nice card. Definitely still want to play 2 of these bad boys. As this one has the Destroy a Damaged Minion, this is based off armor, so depending on the situation and what you're killing, you may want to use one or the other, or one over the other. But we'll talk about that more when we get into the games. The Double Doomsayer, due to the fact that I do not bestow a large amount of faith in my RNG of getting the War Axe in our opening hand, we have Double Doomsayer to kind of make up for that fault. You can play this guy in turn 2 or turn 3 or even turn 4 against most classes, and there's not much they can do about it unless they've been able to build up a very sizable board or want to waste quite a few spells or buffs to get rid of them, and then from there you can deal with those creatures appropriately. So I played the Double Doomsayer to kind of give us that early game edge and also just a really solid mulligan card to look for pretty much in every game besides maybe another Control Warrior or something like that. The War Axe is a staple. The Revenge is just a card I've seen come in handy more times than not. Worst case scenario, it's a Whirlwind that, will combo well with your Gromash for like for the OTK for 10 damage. I wouldn't really say OTK, but for the 10 damage burst. And if you're playing against an aggressive deck, the 3 damage definitely comes in handy. Your Slam is your cheap cycle. You get to deal damage to a creature, and then from there you could probably deal with it with whether a Bash or a Ravaging Ghoul or an Execute, or there's a variety of different things you can do once you've slammed it, and then also drawing the card is very handy. So definitely just a really good cycle card and a really good kind of flexible card you could use to kill a minion or just to draw the card. The one Alkalite I pay, and I found that, if we put 2 of these in our deck, I normally, if you're playing against the Control matchup or against a Shaman matchup, they can just easily deal with this guy. The max cards you're going to get from it is like 1. You're paying essentially 3 mana to draw 1 card. And this deck already has, double shield block. It has slams. It has Harrison Jones. How much draw do you really need when all the cards in this deck are meant to perform well and get you as much value as possible? So I find that 1 Alkalite, most of the time I've always stuck with 1 Alkalite, but some players like 2, which is totally fine. We've actually had to limit the amount of bashes in the deck. I love my bash, but unfortunately we're only playing 1 right now because I decided I needed to squeeze in the Harrison Jones, the double Ironforge, and the Baron. We've also had to cut Sylvanas, which isn't that really big of a deal because we're not playing against, again, a lot of Cthulhu decks. The Sylvanas was good versus those, in my opinion, because we could steal their Cthulhu, and if they decided, they wanted to wait till we play Sylvanas, we would play Sylvanas, and then they would think we have nothing to deal with their Cthulhu, and then we Tankmaster it. So there's a whole plan just because of how popular Cthulhu's decks were a little bit ago, but now that's not really a thing, so that's why we've cut the cards that we've cut. The Ravaging Ghoul is basically just a staple. This card is so good and combos well with either your Acolytes of Pain and your Bloodhoof Braves. Your double shield block is good cycle and it's great armor to generate for your shield slams. Your Bloodhoof Brave is basically because you have no card to play on 4. He's a good statted card as is. He's really annoying for most classes to get rid of, but he's not winning you any games. He's basically to either slow down your opponent or for them to waste some of their field removal on him, such as like Lava Burst. If you're playing against another warrior, Executes, mages will waste fireballs. So he's basically just a solid target for a lot of the cards you don't want to see going face to this guy instead. Your Elise is basically your win condition in this deck if your opponent just doesn't concede by the end of it because you not fatigued them, but you basically made them run out of steam. And we'll get to that once we start playing the games and you can see how the deck is run. For those of you who are unfamiliar with the Control Warrior, it has a very interesting, slow, grindy, make your opponent wish they weren't playing against you kind of feel. The Double Brawl is basically your field removal, very important in the deck. In my opinion, too, because there's no other field removal in the deck besides Revenge, which has a requirement of being below 12 HP. Double Brawl is essential. The Harrison Jones, because Shaman is so popular, even Paladins, Warriors, and Rogues being able to draw 2 cards or just destroy their weapon in general, especially if they're playing Gorehowl or the I can't remember the name of it, but everybody seems to be running the new Warrior card that can attack as many times as it wants. The name of it's on the tip of my tongue, but it's really useful against that as well. So anything that draws you basically 1 or more cards, you develop a 5/4 and you've killed their card, seems pretty good. The Ironforge Portal is gain 4 armor, you can't go wrong with that, and then summon a random 4 cost. Granted that you're summoning a random 4 cost, so you can't really pick what you're summoning when a lot of times it's not so great, but overall the card is very solid and you'll find that most Control Warriors have good things to say about it. The Justicar is a staple in any Control Warrior for the most part. Being able to upgrade your hero power to give you 4 armor instead of 2 is very, very crucial when going against the fatigue battle against other warriors and or priests. The Baron Geddon was basically the replacement for Sylvanas due to the fact that Shaman is so popular and Hunter is so popular. Baron absolutely wrecks the Huntards. It's just the fact that a lot of their creatures are very low HP, and this guy has such high attack that if they extend too many resources getting rid of them, that's less going to your face, and if they don't deal with them, he ends up just wrecking them. The Gorehowl is in here because Harrison. I haven't seen a lot of people play it against me. Also, the Reno decks have kind of slowed down, which means there's no more ooze, and with no more ooze means that you can play kind of greedier weapons and you don't have to be scared or as scared of them being destroyed. But let's say you're going against a lot of people who are playing Harrison, or you're finding that a lot of your weapons are getting acidic swamp ooze, you can kind of change the Gorehowl out for a Sylvanas or a Rag, and that'll be fine. And the Grommash is basically a staple, definitely, as it's a very, very powerful warrior card, and most of the times you'll find yourself being able to either kill your opponent with the 10 damage burst it brings out, or being able to make a trade with maybe like an Azure Drake or something, and then it's still like a 10-5 on the board, and your opponent again has to waste either another spell, it can trade into another creature, or it's going to follow up with 10 damage to their face. So that's our Control Warrior list, and with that said, let's head into these games so we can kind of talk about all of the rest that goes along with it. So I'll see you there. All right, so we're heading into our first game here against, I'm going to just take a random guess. Okay, I was going to say Hunter. It's the Mage, so we can assume if he's playing Freeze Mage, it's basically an automatic win. If he's playing Tempo Mage, it's not an automatic win, but I feel pretty safe against the Tempo Mage as long as we get an okay starting hand. We could keep all right, so if it's a Freeze Mage, keeping the Justicar is very powerful, but if it's not a Freeze Mage, keeping the Justicar could hurt us. So I think we're just going to play it a little bit safe and just throw away the Justicar, and there's a good amount of time that we can build up our armor and have like a safety net through drawing the Justicar or not getting the Justicar, because we can just go ahead and keep armoring up, which is pretty safe against the Freeze Mage, as long as again we can draw like an Ironforge Portal or shield slams of that, or shield blocks of that nature. So he plays nothing on turn 1, so no Mana Worm for him. We're just gonna go and armor up just in case it is Freeze Mage. If we use the War Axe, we'll actually miss an armor up. And I would rather not take that risk if I don't have to. So he's going to ping face, showing us again this indeed could be the Freeze Mage. If we would have played the War Axe, we'd be at 29, so we'll just go ahead and tank up again. There's no reason to play anything. Next turn we could go War Axe into the armor up again, and just fitting this in as much as possible until we can figure out what he's playing. So the Babbling Book shows this might in fact be the Tempo Mage and not the Freeze Mage, just due to a slow start. So because of that, we can play the Elise, and we really don't have to worry about too much. We don't want to War Axe the 1/1 because that just feels terrible. Developing 3/5 feels a little bit better. And then going in, we have the next turn we have Harrison if we want. We've got War Axe armor up if we want, or we've got the Ironforge Portal if we want. So next turn we have quite a few good things. So here comes the Arcane Blast into the swing. Ooh, Frostbolts. This is really good for us because the Frostbolt can be used face, and it also freezes us, while the Arcane Blast could have killed our card and there's nothing we can do about it. So if we Ironforge Portal, this stays on the board, but if we just War Axe it down, we get the value from at least killing one creature, and we can fit in another armor up. Again, we could have developed a 4 armor and a creature, but that creature most likely would have died to either the card, the sorcerer, or a spell, because the sorcerer was able to buff it. There's so arcane missiles and things of that nature. So he's going to Frostbolt face, which means he has no more Frostbolts in his deck. Yep, this one was not created by the Babbling Book, and neither was this one. He's going to coin, and it looks like he might bring out some of the, yep, there's the mirror images. So this actually wouldn't be a terrible board for us to brawl. Or we could just wait one. Ooh, how you doing, Ravaging Ghoul? So now we actually could just Ravaging Ghoul execute this. We could pretend like we have nothing to do, but I think that gives them a little too much leeway, because leaving the Flamewaker on the board is just one scary thing. And just going ahead and executing the Flamewaker now, these taunts don't really do anything, as we're not going to win this matchup through attacking face. So this is basically a dry card. It was just to protect him from the War Axe, which if he wouldn't have played these, then we could have just attacked his Flamewaker and then just ghouled and saved the execute. Okay, so there's the Arcane Blast. The Baron's actually super sick right now, if this wasn't around, or the taunts were in the way. Because if we get Baron now, we're actually going to damage ourselves, putting us at 20, and then he has at least 5 damage, which means he's going to have 15 damage from 7 mana. Already used 2 Frostbolts, which means he could have like a Fireball ping, which would be 7. That'd be 8 into his... yeah. So we could just go with the Iron Forge portal, which I like, and then just armor up. Because if he wants to develop any more, we brawl. This isn't going to really help us. Baron was an okay choice, but he could just attack the Drake into it and ping it, because it only has 5 HP, meaning the only value we got out of this was killing an Azure Drake, and then 2 taunts that we didn't really care about. We want to, for him, oh gosh, there's a Fireball. So this guy is definitely going in. All right, so we have Shield Block, we've got Baron, we've got no true way to get past these taunts. We could go into the Iron Forge portal again, which I really don't mind, because I'm not really scared of an OTK. He's already used a Fireball. That's the worst card we could have gotten. That is absolutely horrible. This is so bad. I was just talking about how Iron Forge Portal isn't too bad, and then 2/5's not too bad, right? It's just annoying for him to get rid of. Maybe we can get the Gore Howl value out of this guy, which would be insane. So maybe using a Shield Block last turn to get the Gore Howl as soon as possible with her out would be cool. But it's really, 1 in 20, not really feeling it. So whatever he does, he's either going to have to ping this, which means Maxi has 6 mana. He's already used 1 Fireball. It's a 7, and then 4. That's 11. Oh, God. Ronan. We don't play Sylvanas, so technically we can't take it. Doomsayer is nice, but unfortunately it's not going to guarantee to go off due to the fact that this, again, has 7. We could swing into here, axe into there, play this so it soaks the 7 to give us an extra turn. I think the Doomsayer to soak a turn is pretty good. We need an answer to this thing, and we currently don't have one. Oh, so it just reduces it by 2. Your weapons cost 2 less. For some reason, I thought is your weapons cost 2. Shows how much I know about this card. So we could go ahead and... no. We're going to swing here. We're going to swing into here. Definitely playing the Doomsayer. There's no reason not to axe. And then we can go and armor up yet again. So if he doesn't attack face... if he attacks the Doomsayer, we gain basically 7 life. And if he decides to attack face, we deal with a card that we currently had no way to deal with. So it's not too bad. So there's a Sorcerer's Apprentice. So it looks like he's definitely dealing with the Doomsayer with the Ronin, which means we're going to have to get the Brawl off. All right, so there's that swing. We got to remember that Baron can actually deal 2. This does 3 and this does 2. Is he fireballing face? Oh boy. So that was his last fireball in the deck. There's another Doomsayer, but unfortunately he has a lot of damage. So we could Brawl, and if this lives, it's really bad. If we decide we want to take 7, because we can actually Baron, but then we actually can't kill this. So I think the plan is to just go face, and hopefully the Ronin does not live. All right, so it's a 1 in 5. Ronin's out. Ayy. That's pretty lucky. So we could go with the Doomsayer to guarantee that we're going to have a card on the board, because I'm kind of scared of the Archmage right now. And because he could, what was it, Archmage and then a whole Ronin and just do a whole bunch of madness. So I think Doomsayer Hero Power is an okay play. Because he can Archmage, and then he has the 3 Arcane Missiles. But that's so fucking greedy. Who gets that combo? Is the Archmage into the 3 Arcane Missiles from Ronin. You know this guy probably has it. So, for half his deck, we have no true way. How much time do we need to buy? I think we'll play it. I think it's worth it. So this gives us a free turn to play, we can play Hellscream if we want. He's not going to be able to contest anything. Like, you'd have to run Polymorph, right? Unless he would Arcane Missiles, well, even that wouldn't be able to kill him. Harrison Jones doesn't feel as good, so I think we just Hellscream. Only because, I mean, I doubt he runs Polymorph, but he's already used double Fireball, double Frostbolt. So how would he be able to deal with a 4/9 unless he runs Polymorph? The one copy that, if he runs, would be in his deck. So there's the Azure Drake, which is normally the target we have for the Hellscream. So let's see if we should have held on to it. So for 4 mana, does he have the Polymorph? He has the Cone of Cold. Okay. It's not too bad. So from here, this guy is obviously not doing shit. Playing the Baron doesn't kill anything besides damaging ourselves, which we need to be very wary of. This can kill this, and then the Shield Slam can kill the Azure Drake, which I think is pretty good. Because we have to be careful that Flame Strike, because if he Flame Strikes, he can actually almost kill our entire board. Because Flame Strike would bring 5 damage to this, he would ping this would deal 5 to this, and then the Mana Worm could kill our Grom, and then his Azure Drake could live. But currently, if he decides he wants to Flame Strike, nothing really happens too bad, unless he plays again another card like Flame Waker, and then the pings go off exactly how they need to go. So there's the Arcane Explosion. Good pings for him so far. All right, let's take it easy now. And here comes the missiles. All right, let's take it a little easy. Most of these go face, which would be superb. Because we've got 19 HP to play with. There we go. There's the RNG I'm looking for. All face. That's 5 damage face. That was the probability of that was like below 5%. But now Hellscream's gonna die. Oh, okay. Jesus. That was an insane amount of damage. Okay, so I don't think we revenge you. We actually can Baron and then just attack this. But the problem with the Baron, he has no more Fireballs, he has no more Frostbolts. So the only thing you can do now is to either get the Rag, get the Yogg, or get the Tome. We could revenge and swing and then just play the Harrison, which doesn't feel that bad. But the Baron just kind of puts him on a countdown. But unfortunately, we're at a low life, but he's already used the Frostbolts and the Fireballs. So it's like, what are we truly scared of? So we're going to take, we'll be at 6 if we do this. Fuck it. We got to do it, boys. So we're just going to hope he doesn't rip Rag off the top. He has no more Fireballs. Unless he gets Tome into like Fireballs and stuff. But we have a lot, so we still have a decent amount of armor generating abilities. So we still have a shield block, we still have Justicar. Tome off the top into Fireball. You can't make it up, boys. You can't make it up. Ping face. Oh no, not enough mana left over. So there's the Ravaging Ghoul. So unfortunately, we definitely know we have to armor up. If we play Harrison Jones, it basically just has 2 left, so there's not... It's just bad. The Tome was Tome for him, or bad for him to draw, or bad for us for him to draw. Because now we're kind of stuck with Baron, so Harrison was definitely the better play there. Because then we would be rebuilding. We should have waited, but I didn't think he'd rip it off the top. Ugh. You should definitely ping your Thalamus. There you go. And now you have a draw. Now you have another out. Because you knew it was just going to die at the end of the turn anyway. We can actually kill our own Baron. But I don't think it's worth it just yet. I know this is only going to get 5 damage off, but I think it's worth it. because this is 12 damage, and then if we draw a bash, that'll be 15, and then I'll put him at 3, and I don't know what the fuck I was thinking, but I still think this is good. Because if he has a flame strike, he'll use it, and at least Baron will go bye-bye. We definitely could have slammed in revenge to draw one and get rid of our Baron, but I don't think it's that crucial. Again, he has no fireballs and no frostbolts. It's like, what is left in his deck? So we basically played Harrison for 5 damage. I feel like if he would have killed this and then developed a creature, it'd be really bad. Is he pinging the Baron? What? Blizzard? Mana Worm? Okay. That's interesting. So we could actually Ravaging Ghoul, but I like cycling. Because the sooner we get to... Ooh, Gorehouse, nice. So this would be 14. That's lethal, correct? So this is 14 and that'd be 19. So that's the GG. See, playing Harrison was very important. Without Harrison, we would have never won. Thank you, buddy. Even though nothing went into your museum, you were still worth it. It was all part of the plan. All part of the plan. It was a little risky playing the Baron, but I think it worked out. Obviously, it worked out in the end there. Because if we would have played, the Harrison still would have made contact, but it would have taken a little bit longer because of the mirror images. I would have never done that, like I said, if he had fireballs and frostbolts. So yeah, I think in the particular situation, it worked out well. Like he had gone face with so much. Why does it look like? All right, this looks even. So we're gonna play against a shaman. All right, this is good. So we played against a tempo mage, which is a good representation of what's out there. Now we're playing against a shaman. It's kind of sad the games when we go against like some of... Ooh, do we keep revenge just to have it? I don't think so. We look for Doomsayers, we look for Warshack, we look for the goods. But it kind of sucks when I end up doing a deck guide and then I play against like OTK Priest. I play against like some random Fatigue Warrior, like all these decks that normally players don't see a whole lot of. So it's always nice doing a deck guide, playing against, like, first of all, classes that are very popular, and then decks within those classes that are popular. Like, if we can go against a hunter, that'd be really good, like a secret hunter or something as well. Maybe another control warrior. That'd be a very slow, but yet interesting matchup, in my opinion. All right, so there's the Claws of the Spirit. Definitely probably just going to hero power. This is why we run Harrison in this deck, by the way. Most of the time they want to trade with this, so if he holds on to it for a long time and we can draw our Mr. Jones, things will be going in museums. And I forgot that my mini fridge is still plugged in, so after this turn I'm going to go unplug my mini fridge real fast because it's making some noise. Alright, so we could be a little frisky dingo. We could go with the slam onto there, bring us down to 1 HP, and then War Axe next turn with the hero power. We could play the Alkalite. We know he's going to make the trade, and then we can War Axe it just to save the... just to first of all cycle and then save the HP and use the slam for like a thing from below with the War Axe. I think the max value we're gonna get from the Alkalite it's gonna be now, so I don't really mind playing it. And be right back so I can unplug our mini fridge. Sorry about that, guys. I'm coming for you, fridgy boy. I just gotta remember to plug it back in. That's the only problem. Because then all our alcohol gets cold. And we've got some really fine wine in there. Well, that was fucking the shittiest thing that could have happened. So the one thing that I did not mention is the Alkalite. If he makes the trade with the well, if we got I guess, yeah, it was bad. I guess we could have gone with the slam because the healing totem heals this back up to 4. But if he would have got the spell power, the Spirit Claws could have attacked, which would have been bad as well. So, but either way, we know we're gonna War Axe down. Ooh, the Doomsayer is nice. So if this Doomsayer can tick off, we are in a happy dandy position, boys. So he's got a Lava Burst it, he's got to Lightning Bolt, or he can roll Spell Power here, or he can even Hex it. If he hexes it, that's pretty good. So this card he keeps whipping out like a spell. So I'm gonna assume maybe he has 1 Hex in his hand, but he doesn't want to utilize it. If he goes face, we know he's letting it tick off, and at that point we can Ironforge Portal. Looking for the spell power, gets no spell power, goes for the Flame Tongue, and he's going to go ahead and make the trade here. Okie dokie. So this is definitely going to die to this, and then I suppose we can Ironforge Portal. I think that's fine. Ooh, that was a good one. Well, I mean, it's not too great because then he could, I don't know, he could swing his 1/1 into it. Yeah, he could, well, first of all, he should have rolled his totem to get his spell power, and then he could have killed it off with his weapon. But if you're just like this guy, like a boss, and doesn't care what totem he rolls, then you can just go ahead and do it this way. But if he would have totemed up first, he had a higher chance to get spell power instead of killing it off and then doing it the other way. But we're not doing a deck guide on his deck. All right, so we could slam, ravaging. Doesn't do anything really. What does slamming really do? I don't know what slamming does. Doesn't feel that great though. Ravaging Ghoul kills 2 of his cards, brings this down to 1, brings this to 3. We've got 2 mana to follow up. This would still be at 1, so because there's not a whole lot for us to do, I think we can just go with the Brave and then the hero power. Next turn, we can go ahead and Gorehowl, kill off the Totem Golem, and we know our Ravaging Ghoul is going to be able to clean up these 2 guys no matter what. And him drawing an extra card right now, I mean, all right, so he's going to use the Hex onto that. That's fine. We're still at 32 life, so we're not super scared. And the more he builds up the board, oh man, that's bad. This was bad because now we can't Gorehowl. Shield block's okay. I mean, we could Gorehowl, but we don't want to kill that with it. Dun, 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 dun. Using double slam on this feels terrible. Also, if we Gorehowl and he like oozes or does something silly like that, that feels really bad. Oh man. I just don't want to Ravaging Ghoul just yet. I mean, Gorehowl swing into Totem doesn't feel the best, but it's not too bad, but it's not very good. We could shield block and look for some answers, but I think just Gorehowling into this Totem is okay. First of all, if he has the Thunder Bluff, it'll reduce the damage on the board. It also still has 6 attacks, so it can kill the Thunder Bluff. And at that point, we could we could slam and then do the Ravaging Ghoul. So there's the Thunder Bluff. Okay. So this worked out pretty good. Give him spell power. There we go. So now this can make contact with that. It's not too bad. Feels kind of bad, but it's not too bad. There's the Justicar. Huh. So this would die. We have no way to deal 1 damage unless we want to double slam there. I was thinking Hell Scream and then attack into there, but that still leaves this on the board, which is his 5, 6, that'd be 8, and then with Bloodlust we are definitely dead. So we know this is swinging into here no matter what. We know this is gonna happen. And then we would have to double slam. That feels pretty bad. So we may want to just armor up first, and that puts us at 5. So then we can still do that into that, but that still feels pretty bad. But then it still contests the Totem Golem. Let's check it out. Unless this was a brawl. Okay. So I guess we just kill this off. Then we Ravaging Ghoul. So I guess we should have used Shield Slam first, or Shield Block first, but I wanted to put the damage on our dude before we gain the armor because then Revenge wouldn't proc as high, or wouldn't have a highest chance of procking. So, and the Healing Totem's bad because these things just healed back up, which means I guess Revenge is still okay, but because he rolled Taunt, we can't get through there. There's Revenge, but unfortunately, we don't have 13 life. If we would have, no, even if that wouldn't have changed anything. Hell Scream doesn't get through to there, but we can Gorehowl into there, then Grommash, and then he has 4 damage down. Then we're taking 6, so then we're at 9. I suppose we could double slam Revenge, but that feels really bad. That feels pretty bad. But I have a feeling he just has Bloodlust in his hand, which is scary. Bloodlust is very scary. And there's no way to deal damage to our face now to get us to that 12. If we had Bash, I'd bash our own face and then Revenge, or Slam and then Revenge, but we don't have that option. Double Slam Revenge, that's just not a winning play. So we just have to take the risk here, boys. Can't win them all. So we're gonna hope that he doesn't have 5 damage from hand, which would both be a Lava Burst or a Bloodlust. Flame Tongue Totem wouldn't be enough, so it would need to be a combination of 2 things, but he probably has it. Ooh, Hex, he doesn't have it. All right, so there's the second Hex. There's the Maelstrom for 2.
Today, I don't have to be a princess.
You know what? We could have used Gorehowl. We could have slammed the taunt, swung the Gorehowl into there, then revenged. But now this is fine. We're not gonna play the Baron because that's pretty greedy. I'd rather just take the route of armoring up. So we're just gonna slam this down. This is good. So now we get a good revenge off. And now we're going to armor up. Next turn we're gonna Justicar. We could have played the Justicar, which would have been okay, but we wouldn't have got the 2 armor in. So I would rather just have the armor now because if he has the damage, we would have lost anyway. So we'll see if he has it. Yep. So really, I guess if we would have played the Justicar, it would have been a target for the Rag. So it looks like that was a mistake. Looks like the Justicar was the play. Because at that point, then we could have executed the Rag and we would have won. Because that's basically all he has left. So the mistake there was definitely the not playing the Justicar. But I figured he would have like Lava Burst, right? So we played around him having the Lava Burst, which is a very popular card right now. Surprisingly, in Face Shaman. So we can have our 1 loss in there. Hopefully we don't lose again. Rag is an interesting pick though. Normally they have Alakir, which we played around that as well, because Alakir would be 6 damage instead of, we were at 8, we were at 7, so we played around Alakir as well. So we played around 2 cards instead of only playing around 1, which was Rag. All right, we keep the Doomsayer. We also did not drill into Brawl last game, which was an issue. Gonna keep the Doomsayer, look for some of our early game. So there was a couple things we could have played differently last game, but it's easy to say after the fact. It's easy to say after the fact. So we have our redemption game, you can say, against the Shaman. Let's see how many cards he keeps and throws back. We also did not get lucky with our Harrison at all. Harrison was yet to be seen that game. You threw them all back. Which does not help us when determining what he has and what he does not have. Because normally if they keep like 1 or 2 cards, you can assume Tunnel Trog, Totem Golem, Spirit Claws, and all that good stuff. But when they throw back everything, it's kind of just like, well, shucks. So, against Shamans, always the Doomsayer, the War Axe. Sometimes the Slam, depends what your other cards are. Ghoul doesn't change much. We could play the Doomsayer here, or we can be a little greedy and wait to see what he does with this and just armor up and then do other things. So let's say he plays Totem Golem, right? Then he would have 5 damage, and then he'd be overloaded 1 with 2 mana, which means he would have to have Lightning Bolt. So he'd first have to have Totem Golem, and then on top of that, you'd have to have Lightning Bolt. So the greedy play is to hold this, armor up, and wait. So let's say he coins and then Feral Spirits. That would make that a, ooh, yeah, coin Feral Spirits is bad. We're just gonna play that now. So coin Feral Spirits would be worst case. But we always play against worst case here. So I can just see the totem up here and then just to go face. And then we have a clear board to play the Alkalite on. But he could coin into Hex if he really wants to keep the Tunnel Trog alive, if he's got the Feral Spirits in his hand. Oh boy, what you doing? Big decision this Shaman has. Turn 2. Big decisions. This Tunnel Trog could change the game. This is one of the most broken Shaman cards in my opinion. Whenever a 1-drop can have infinite value, I think we have an issue with the card. Like, you need to give infinite value cards to things that actually cost mana. But playing a 1-drop, first of all, that has 3 HP, so like you can't even kill it with a hero power which costs 2 mana. It's ridiculous. And the reason, if he took a really long time there, it definitely shows he has Hex in his hand. So we'll just go ahead and play the Alkalite of Pain. We can follow this up with a Ravaging Ghoul. And it's actually, you can't Ravaging Ghoul execute anymore, because then we would just Ravaging Ghoul execute this Totem Golem, but that's no longer a play that is kind of viable anymore. So if we slam, we could execute it, or we could just go ahead and do the Ravaging Ghoul. We draw a card and we can just go face. Rip this costing 2 mana. That's like the main difference, is that huge tempo play you could gain. Because if we would have executed this Totem Golem, it would have been all ogre. But now it lives. He can get the healing totem. He can do a lot of good things here. So if he decides he wants to trade into the Ghoul, that's fine because this lives. If he decides he wants to trade into there, that's okay because then we can honestly slam it and we still draw 2 cards from the Acolyte of Pain. The thing from below is a little bit scary, but not as scary because we can actually slam execute that. And ooh, we can actually Doomsayer. Ooh, so we can actually slam swing Doomsayer, and this provides us with a turn 6, at which point we will do what? Not sure. Let's check out what happens when we kill this. Now we have a turn 6 play. Alright, so let's see how much he values this Totem Golem. Ideally, he'll just hero power here as well, but again, he could still hex it, which will provide outlets for Hellscream, Harrison Jones, Baron Geddon, for all of them to not die to hex, which he could whip out. So there's just the totem up and then go face, and then we can play our True Heart, which we should have done last game, but we didn't because we didn't expect the rag from the top. But either way, so still 3 mana remaining. Ooh, doggy. If you had hex, this is kind of a giveaway, my man. We do this too because we don't really go super try-hard mode, but for those of you who kind of do turns like this, whoa. Okay. You like play your turn up to a certain point, which kind of reveals what you have, if that makes sense. So I think the Justicar is fine here. So this is where like Coin Baron would be insane, right? So you'd kill basically 3 things. You'd have a 7/5 on the board, and forces him to have to use a hex of that nature. But unfortunately, we don't have the Baron. He's looking for spell power. Goes ahead and equips the Spirit Claws that he top decked. Ooh, the Lightning Storm. Ripperonis in the chatteronis. So our Ravaging Ghoul would be nice because then we could Ravaging Ghoul Revenge. Gorehowl doesn't change too much. Executing this feels bad. I guess we could shield block and see what we draw, and then we still wouldn't have a good answer to the board. If he could go ahead and if he Thunder Bluffs, that's really bad because next turn is the Thunder Bluff turn. So I suppose we could go ahead and wish we had damage one more thing. Baron is a 7-drop, not you, Gorehowl. It was the wrong 7-drop in the deck. So this is going to be 5, this is going to be 2, this is going to be 2, so we have 4, 9, 10, which is putting us at 15. And then we still can't Revenge. So I think we Gorehowl. Looks bad, but again, we're doing the same. Oh yeah, he was overloaded, so he couldn't even Thunder Bluff to deal that amount of damage. But even if he decides he wants to naked Thunder Bluff, it's fine. Which I don't think he would do. I think he's going to hero power, look for taunt, and then maybe play a thing from below just to put some damage onto us. I don't think he'll Spirit Claws. Well, he could Spirit Claws because he has the spell power out. Yeah, buddy. So that's going to get Mr. Jonesed. There's the Feral Spirit. And we're going to take, let's see if he goes face with this Claw. Yeah, he does. So we'll see what we draw here. Elise does not change much. Harrison seems pretty good. Are we doing anything prior to Harrison coming out, though? I don't think so. Brawl. I think Brawl doesn't change anything. Shield Slam doesn't change anything. We actually could Hero Power Shield Slam this because we do have 2 in our hand. We can go ahead and execute that, swing our weapon into there. Let's assume he has a Thunder Bluff. Let's say he has Lust. We kill this, we go down to 16, we go up to 20. He has 4 cards on board with the potential of 4 and then the 6. So he has 12, he has 18, and we're going to be at 20, putting us at 2. Or, I don't know. Lust Lightning Bolt dominates. Using an execute on a 3/2 feels pretty bad though. I don't think we do. I think we can shield block just for the 1 extra armor though. just in case. As a safety precaution. Normally you want to save shield block for like a shield slam because we have 2 of them and for thing from below, but because we have the tank up, it's not as important because this is basically 1 mana off and we have the revenge in our hand. So that's the reason we did that. So right now he is again 6 plus the 12, so he has 18. We're at 21, which puts us at 3. So he'd have to have exactly Lightning Bolt. He'd have to have Bloodlust, Lightning Bolt, and that's, I think, 1 over lethal. And if not, then we get put at 16 if he develops nothing else. If he decides he wants to Lava Burst, puts us at Revenge range, which would definitely choose to Revenge at that point in time. There's the Bloodlust. And this is why we did exactly that. Where are you now? Ding, 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 ding. Okay, so I believe at this point in time we can successfully play Revenge. Then we could go Brave to protect from Alakir. Hero power up and go face. So we just need 1 more turn to get out of the warning zone because he could rag and rag could go face and we can lose the same way we just lost. Looking for spell power, gets the spell power, gets the Thalamus, Lava Burst face for 7. Ah, that would have actually sent me off the deep end, folks. If there was one way to see me lose my shit, it was that way. So how much damage do we have here? So we have 10... We have 20 damage total, so we do not have lethal yet. So we're gonna kill this off. Gonna kill this spell power. I mean, we could, yeah. I'm gonna play this a little safe. I wanna play around rag. Because we're still pushing lethal no matter what next turn. Because whatever he plays, we can attack and then Hell Scream, Shield Slam, and then just go face for 18. Well, I guess that wouldn't be. Here's the Drake. Maelstrom for 2. So again, we've got 17 and he's at 20. So I think, I mean, I guess we could play the Hell Stream, make the trade. This goes into here, 3 face. He could hex this. We want to use this for burst, which means this goes here, that goes here, but then we have no creature to play. So I think it's fine. So unfortunately this is going to get hexed, but it's fine. So we still have Baron left in our deck. We still have the portals, and we still have the monkeys. So I guess we could just run him out of steam. There's no reason to play this too quickly. There's the Thunder, there's the Hero, and then there's the Hex. Well, let's see if he has the Hex. Ah, the Spirits, okay. So there's the portal, there's protection from there. We know this has to kill there, or we could actually just go face because we do have the Shield Slam for that. So I guess the first things first is to see what comes out of the Ironforge portal. All right, so that doesn't change too much. We know this is going there. We know this is going there. We know that's happening. We know this is happening. And we can make this trade there, or we can just go face. 10 damage is too much to ignore there. We could shield slam the 2-2, but that's just not going to happen. We're at 21 life. A 2-2 on the board is not going to change anything. Again, he could make trades, use Lightning Storm, but that still doesn't cure the Hood and Alkalite at that point. That's, what, 6 damage? He's at 8, so it provides him with 1 more turn to live. But that's if he has that exact combination of cards. Oh no, our water's spilling onto our desk, and then it's gonna leave those nasty, nasty watermarks. So it looks like we got our revenge on the Shaman. So next thing we need to play is Hunter, and then we can wrap this up as 3-1, and then we've gone against Mage, Shaman, and Hunter, which I think will be pretty good. What would go balls deep here? You can't even Deathwing. Deathwing we'd be able to just shield slam it, so. Not that he'd be playing Deathwing, but Worst case scenario, if he somehow innervated out Deathwing, we could still deal with it. If again the shaman somehow generated innervate. Oh, so there's the rag. So it looks like rag is definitely an inclusion. I wonder who threw the rag into the shaman deck to make everybody play it, because that's 2 games in a row where rag was kind of like a finisher for the shaman if he was close to being able to finish. Have to look that up, because it wasn't. What would they take out? The 4-drop 7/7s haven't been in there for a long time, so I wonder what the shamans did, or what card changed to make the shamans make room for rag.
So heading into our last game here, we're playing against another shaman, so unfortunately we didn't play the hunt card that we were looking for. But still, again, well, how many played? 3 shamans and something. I think we can keep 1 brave and 1 war axe. I think that's fair. Pretty solid opening hand. It's kind of sad I already forgot the other class we played against. It was 3 shamans and what? Am I seriously, my short-term memory's that bad? Oh, a mage. Derp, that was the first game. Come on, guys. I'm so bad. Alright, so double war axe is always something we like here at the, oh my gosh, I almost said the negative. You guys, if you veterans know what I almost said, but I didn't say it. Alright, so just the hero power from the shaman. I'm probably gonna war axe it down because it's the spell power. Feels kind of bad, but we also have 2 war axes in our hand, so it doesn't feel as bad as killing the spell power with it, because we definitely have the follow-up. So if he plays Totem Golem here, we can Ravaging Ghoul swing. If he hero powers again and he gets the 1/1, we Ravaging. If he depends what he plays, we actually coin Brave, which is pretty good. All right, so he gets the 1, so I actually don't really mind the Ravaging right here. We could also coin Brave, save Ravaging for better play than just this. What would be his turn 4 play? Thing from below. If Thing from below is his turn 4 play and we have this out, we could swing, Ravaging. If we played this, he plays Thing from below. Then we'd Ravaging. Couldn't execute it because execute cost 1 more mana. I guess we could swing Bloodhoof into it, and then it'd be at 1 HP, but then it dies to Maelstrom Portal. I think this is fine. This is only fine because this costs 2 mana. Hopefully you got my thought process there. Because if this didn't cost 2 mana and he plays Thing from below here, the next turn we could have gone Ravaging Ghoul, execute. But this is what we were scared of, is him playing Totem Golem and not having the Ravaging Ghoul to deal 1 damage, so we can't kill her with our weapon. That's what we were scared of. But we're good at this game, so we draw Revenge, which allows us to kill both of these and redevelop our War Axe. Or we could wait and just hero power up, but then we can't play our Bloodhoof too. But either way, I think this is fine. This guy's probably a little salty. I know I would be. You also could go Ironforge Portal, which is good as well. And this guy only has 3 mana, so the max he's gonna do is either hero power or Thing from below. And if he Thing from belows, then we can do something, because we draw into Slam. So there's the 1/1 and the Spirit Claws, Harrison off the top, and we might see a concede. No Harrison, all right. So I think Ironforge is fine. That's pretty bad, because now we have to kill the totem. It's not a bad card, but in that situation it's bad, because this is 1 damage and the totem's 1 damage, so it basically kills our 4/2. So this forces him to roll spell power, or he can just fire elemental it down. Ripperonis. Slam off the top. Super sick. Doomsayer's nice, but not super nice in this situation. So we could go Brave or we could go Elise. If we go Elise, I think it's a little bit better than the Brave, because they're not really trying to protect anything, and we also have no Death Rattle stuff. Or not Death Rattle, but like Ravaging Ghoul, could we combo the Brave with to like take out a Thing from below. So I think this is fine. It also has 3 attack. Because next turn we can like block into Brave if he decides he wants to play Thing from below. Or we could just play Doomsayer, because then he's going to want to kill it. Okay, so we don't really have a great way to deal with the Mana Tide. So we actually might just Doomsayer. Ooh, Bash is a way to deal with it. So Brave, Bash, swing. If we didn't draw the Bash there, we would have gone just killed the Totem and then played the Doomsayer and Hero Powered, maybe even Shield Block. So we probably should have Shield Blocked first if we wouldn't have drawn the Bash, but we drew the Bash, but it was only a 1 in 20, so I didn't count on it. Gorehowl is also an out there, but I play around what's in my hand. I don't really do, unless we get into like, unless there's 2 cards in, like more than 2 cards in their deck, and then like we actually super need it. I normally don't go for things like that. So it looks like Doomsayer's looking like a pretty good guy. So this costs 5, this is 7. We could go with the Doomsayer. If we swing into here, how much damage would he have on the board? He would have 4, 6, 7. So that's definitely gonna die. So I think we're gonna go with the map first. Get the map, who's got the map? We've got the map. Hey, Harrison Jones. It's insane value right there. So we could go coin Doomsayer. We know this is trading there. So currently this trades here, this trades here, this trades here. You can Maelstrom. If we go coin Doomsayer, our following turn would be this. But currently has these on the board. This doesn't die to the Baron. We could coin Hero Power, coin... What if he just goes face and plays nothing? I think it's a field worthy of him having to deal with. Maybe if it was just Elise, we could just Doomsayer just to buy us up some time, but I think he's still gonna have to like Lightning Storm or Maelstrom here. And then we can play the Baron or the Doomsayer. Alright, so hopefully Harrison lives, which I think it will. Oh no. Well, this is good because it low road on both, or, oh no, never mind. Alright. Rip. I think this is definitely a brawlable board, unfortunately. As long as this Tunnel Trog does not live. The light's fine. So we could go with the Brave, or we could go with the Doomsayer. I'm gonna go with the Doomsayer Hero Power just to kind of slow him down a little bit. Because that'll allow us to develop more armor and then draw into other things that we may need. Also play the Brave. The Justicar is something we always look forward to. Because if you would have played like Thunder Bluff and maybe some other stuff. Oh, the Kinsamida! Because I was going to say, if you drew into like Thunder Bluff and started doing things without us being able to repair the board and having just drawn Brawl, we would have basically had to draw the second Brawl within the next 3 turns, which the Doomsayer just buys us another turn. So, hopefully you've enjoyed thus far. Playing against 3 Shamans in a row should tell you something. Being able to win against 2 of the 3 should tell you something as well, even though that one game, I think it was a little unfortunate due to the fact that we just didn't really draw anything we needed. And oh yeah, I think the Control Warrior is a fun deck, definitely very competitive. I know it's a little bit more on the expensive side, but it's a deck that you can look forward to building over time, right? Like you don't really need all of the pieces, you just need the core set, and then from there you can kind of fluctuate in and out of some cards. But a lot of the cards that you find in the Control Warrior go into most other Warrior decks, whether you're playing Cthulhu, Fatigue, the Control variants, even Dragon Tempo. So there's a lot of cards that fit into this, that fit into a lot of the other Warrior decks that are doing very well at the moment as well on ladder. So hopefully you've enjoyed, like I mentioned before. Look forward to reading your comments, and thanks for, of course, watching. I'm Warshack, of course, and happy whatever the hell day it is.